Yeah, g'day everyone. This is Nick from Electric Wheels Australia, aka Perth Electric Scooter Repairs, and I've got myself here a warranty job from a Mearth dealer here in WA. They've asked me to do this repair because their technician is no longer there, I believe, and they only focusing on e-bikes rather than on electric scooters. They asked me if I was willing to do it, and I said yeah, being official Mearth repair shop for warranties, etc. So I received it in a box and opened up the box, and boy, what a mess this fella is. And the first thing I noticed was, if you notice here, that's the main cable leading to the display. Okay, it's not pretty, and so I thought, oh, okay, I'll just need a new main cable, which I received from Mearth, and then today I decided to, of course, open it up, because to remove it, you've got to remove the battery, which I've done, which I'll show you as well, and the controller, and then just pulling out from the bottom here. So I removed the battery, and lo and behold, the next fault I noticed was the connector. And if you notice there, okay, it's bent down on this side. It's lower, should be flush. So why that or how that happened, I don't know, but I do know that the plastic surround inside does tend to melt, overheat and melt, and therefore can cause that to happen. But I'm assuming that is the case here, but I'm not 100% sure, but more than likely, until I think I'm going to have to open it to have a look anyway. So this is the Mearth S. In actual fact, this scooter is also known in Australia as the E-Glide G60, and there are many brands worldwide that utilize this scooter and rebrand it. I have got another page called E-Glide, so if you do find that, certainly you'll see a bit of information about the different companies or name brands, and I don't think that is all of them, but it's quite a few of them. And and one company in Italy threatened their lawyers onto me to sue me because I told them in their Facebook group, or to their viewers, that they are liars. Because on their website they state that they designed and engineered and manufactured their scooters, in particular the same one that looks like this. Okay, but in actual fact the manufacturer is Kixin, K-I-X-I-N, and the particular model is, as the battery shows, I don't know if you can see that, I'll just zoom, come on baby, is the X7. Alright, ignore that bit. So Kixin HX. Alright, HX is the scooter side of the company, and Kixin, can't remember what they do, but anyway, if you type that up in Google, you'll find them. So this is the X7 model. Alright, so it's the G60 in regards to the E-Glide through Scooter Hut. They don't supply them anymore, I'm pretty certain they don't. And the next one up from that, another Kixin, is the X8, and it's called the G120. In the case of Mearth, they call it the S Pro, and the S Pro has an external battery that you pull off. All right, it's got a lock and it comes off. Well, this one sits inside, so the S sits inside the stem. Okay. So there's a problem with the battery. Okay. And no doubt that means that where the controller is, where the battery connects into the controller, will also more than likely be damaged. So I'm about to pull it out. I've undone all these screws, and of course what I traditionally do, because these are really tough to remove, is use the appropriate size security Torx key, Torx. I use these bits to go into screwdriver handle style, okay? But what I do use is standard hammer to hammer the bolts, and quite firmly, because the glue that they use really makes it impossible, near impossible, to remove them. These bottom ones on both sides, around the other side, weren't too bad, okay? And then the front one here, because that's the front, and those three and the other three on the other side were, near impossible to remove. So getting the hammer to them and then trying to remove them is the best method. One day I'll use my GoPro and stick it on my head, and then you'll see how hard or how firmly I hit it. It won't damage them, but it certainly will damage them if you try and undo them and they're too tight, because you'll chew the head, and then you've got a bit of work to do, okay? But if you do chew it a little bit, then you get the next size up Torx, and the cord security, because they've got the hole in the bottom of them, okay? See that? Otherwise they're just standard Torx. So yeah, now I'll just get this battery out of the way. I'll just put it here out of the way, hopefully it won't roll off, and just move that out of the way. So what I'm going to do here now is just start getting access to the controller. Before I do, someone has already worked on it using what's this, tape, insulation tape, and as you can see here, it's just broken off. It was not really secure, and there's another one there, and there's a third one somewhere that they've taped up for some reason. The problem with these particular cables is that they are part of a cable that runs down inside into the motor, so that would be the reason why they repaired it like they did. In theory, more than likely what's happened here is that when you slide this over that piece there, it's pinched them and cut them, and that's more than likely what's happened. And the other issue with this particular setup, and I'm going to slide this out now, the stem shouldn't fall on the floor, because this cable here would stop it. So the controller's starting to come out now, okay, and I'll just pop it off, be a bit more manly about it, okay. Now this is the cable at the front there, comes all the way down to here, to this connector here, and if you notice there, I'll just have to get this camera to focus, zoom in a bit, okay, come on baby. Oh, I'll just have to move this because it's distracting it. There we go. And as you can see here, it's been that's bare wire there, and as you can see, it's been crimped as well. So whoever reassembled this scooter didn't do a very good job of it. They really stuffed it up. Now I don't know if all the damage was done all at the same time or what. I really don't know, don't care really. But be aware, if you do have this particular scooter and that this part here of the stem does slide over this part of the base, all right, of the hinge mechanism, okay, do ensure that these cables are tucked in out of the way, all the cables, so they don't get caught on here. Otherwise you will damage them. And if you've damaged this side, for the motor side of the hall sensor wires, then it's a bastard of a job, because those wires are really skinny. I might have a spare connector, a 2-pin connector. I've got a whole bunch of connectors. Certainly got one of those. In this case, the phase wires for the motor is, from the controller, is green, green, blue, blue, yellow, yellow. If there's ever any of your scooters that you work on, not necessarily this brand or model, it's only the blue and the greens that you swap over. Yellow always stays yellow. Blue could be a green, and the green could be a blue. You know, it just depends if it's a front motor or a back motor. If you've got a dual motor, there's a good chance that one will be blue, blue, yellow, yellow, green, green, and the other motor will be green, blue, blue, green, and yellow, yellow. All right. Don't ask me why. It's just the way it is. You can ask me on the page if you like. It's not an issue there. I'll try and get that information if need be. But what I do suggest to people is you photograph everything. You photograph like people will think you're OCD with 1,000 pictures, especially when it comes to putting the washers back in, the spaces in for the motor. Make sure you check them to make sure, because some of the spaces or washers are thinner than others on the same side. So you may have two washers as well as the locking ring that's got a tab on it. I'll give you an example of that, and you always got to take photographs when you can. Here we go, here's one. So like that, okay? Often, like in the segways, they go over the shaft and sit that way up. But anyway, apart from that, if you are changing out the tyre on this model, or this is an 8.5 inch on the G60, the G120, or in the case of the Mearths, the S or the S Pro, changing off the tyre, you do have to remove it from the fork, okay? Now some of them do have screws. It's a bit shadowy there. Some of them do have screws here and at the front, okay? And there may be a little rubber boot. See, there's a little rubber grommet there. Some brands may have a little grommet, so just look for that and look for the screw, and that allows you to remove it. If you don't see anything at all, it'll be just clipped in, all right? Like in the case of the Segway F-Series scooters, they're clipped in. And so you undo, remove this cover, and take a photograph of the washers and the nut, so you remember, so you'll know how to put it back together again. Now with this, and what I would do is actually I'll remove the wheel entirely, and then put it aside, and then I would remove both side capping. All right. How you do that, I will one day show you again when I get my GoPros on my forehead, and I'll show you how to do it. But you certainly, again, you may have to tap these as well when you go to remove them, but you remove, in this case, both sides. And you remove the guts away from, which is the the stator. Remove the stator from the rotor, which is the outside part. And that will make your life easier in regards to changing out tyres. But in due course, I want to set up a YouTube channel with the specific brands or models, and therefore you'll be able to easily find the right one on how to change out tyres. There's a numerous number of YouTube videos on scooter repairs or whatever, and they cut a lot out of it, and they don't really show you how to do it. In some cases, in some manufacturers, they really don't know what they're doing when it comes to repairs. They've just got no idea. But anyway, I mean, I'm not perfect, but certainly I do try my best to make these work and stay working. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I don't even know if this controller works or not. I know nothing about this, especially in the condition it's in. So the other thing about this particular scooter is the range on them. If you come across this scooter, the range on these aren't very good. The G30 or the Mearth S. The only advantage of this is that there is a screw cap. Hang on, I'll get it. This is at the top, and the battery's in there, and a screw cap to hold the battery in. So you can interchange the battery as you like. Same as the S Pro. You can remove it and put another battery on if you like. So you could turn around and have two batteries, one at home, one at work. Okay, and you always continue charging up. You may need, maybe something to think about is an extra charger, so that you can charge up the battery as well. Anyway, this one you can't do that because the charging, it goes directly to the controller rather than to the battery. I can't remember what the G120 does. Hang on, I think I've got a battery here, won't be a sec. Alrighty, so this is the G120 or the S Pro, Mearth S Pro, or the Eagle Eye G120 or whatever else is out there. That's its battery, okay? And as you can see, that slots into the controller inside the scooter. Okay, now you notice there's 3 squares. This is the newer version of battery, so that's something you've got to look at, is to check to see if you need to replace a battery, that it's this one or it's this style. Heaps of these have failed over time as well on the G120s or the Mearth S. In actual fact, when it comes to this part melting, I really haven't seen a Mearth S Pro melt. Only on the E-Glides. Why, I don't know. So anyway, back to this one. So this one does have, for the there it is there. So there's the plug-in where you can charge it with an external charger, but please don't think that you can charge up with a different voltage charger. Just stick to the original. Just get that out of the way. In this case here, not that one. Hang on a sec. Oh, jeez. These batteries. So yeah, in this case here, it does specify that the input's got to be 42 volts. You know, a 1.5 or 2 amp charger will suffice. Okay, so same for that one there. I think this one's a, I think it's a 36 as well, if you can read that. It's just, oh, yeah. So 42 volts input, okay, and it'll charge up the battery just over 36 volts. And put it down there. If you try and think that, if you think you can put a higher voltage into it, it'll catch fire. There's no two ways about it. It will catch fire. So don't go anything above 42 volts, and I wouldn't suggest anything greater than 2 amps charging capability. All right. Otherwise, like I've got a scooter here that someone put the wrong charger on, and yeah, the scooter, and destroyed its battery and damaged another scooter, expensive scooter next to it. So you really have to be careful. The other thing too, in these models, this controller has changed over time as well. So just be aware that you just got to make sure. I mean, I would suggest you get a photo if you want to get another one. If you need to get another one, take a photo of the label, so you're making sure you've got the right one. The other thing too, if you notice here, this is quite interesting but valid. This is the cable running up to the display up on the handlebar. Okay, and if you notice, if you notice, there's a green there, but on the other side it's yellow, and this is a green. It's a funny colour, I know, but it is a proper green. But on the other side it's yellow. They've twisted it over, right? That's not unusual, okay? It's not unusual. Why that? It's just that usually the controller is manufactured different, is a different manufacturer of the display or whatever. So there's no consistency in the wiring, but you've got to, again, as I said, you always take photographs, okay, of what you got. So the other one here, if you notice, it's got green as well, but there's a black on the outside, okay, and then it's also black in that. So this color scheme is okay, that's fine. And these are the wires to the hall sensor in the motor here, okay. I have before what hall sensors do and the purpose of them. And some scooters don't use them. Some scooters don't have them at all. Some scooters have the wiring, like the Carbo Mantis. It has the wiring, but doesn't from the motor, but it doesn't use it in the controller, particularly the Mini Motors controller and display. And the motor has those wires but it's not connected. That's normal. So yeah, so there's a bit of work to do. Considering how much they are, which is $6.99, but $700. You do question whether it's worthwhile repairing this, but I've been told to repair it, and but I've got a replacement cable. That's okay. I will have to repair these wires, which is not difficult at all. And once I've done that, then the other thing. Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, look at that. Isn't that a darling? I haven't shown Mearth this. I have shown them battery. But that is diabolical. That means a new controller. I mean, in theory, I can fix it. I have fixed them. But we're talking about a warranty job. So that's stuffed. The main cable's stuffed. The cables to the hall sensor circuitry in the motor are broken. And this is a shocker. Oh well, I'll see how it goes. I won't go any further on this one, but this is probably one of the worst ones I've had to do in regards to warranty. Most of the time, if there is a fault, it's only one or maybe two faults. That is rare as well to get two faults, but I have had two faults in scooters. Fix one problem, then it's still got a problem, and then fix that, and she's all good. So, yeah, this is an example of why you got to take care in things and be aware that if there's any pinch points, that you got to watch out for the pinch points. Okay? All right, leave it at that. Have a good day, and see you soon. Bye.